Hello everybody and welcome back to the Virtual Chef. My name is Joshua and today I'm showing you how to make strawberry cheesecake donuts. Now I think I did a few donut videos before, I definitely did, but I've made some changes to the way that we do the actual donut part. Anyway, we'll get into the donut making first and then we'll work on the filling and see how this turns out. Alright, here I've got 4 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 cup of milk warmed up to about 90 degrees, half a cup of white sugar, 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast, and 2 large eggs. And also 1 1/2 sticks of melted butter. I melted on the stovetop and set it aside to cool. And these 2 eggs, I don't know if you can see that. I can't see. Anyway, the 2 eggs have come up to room temperature. So I'm going to crack these 2 eggs into the melted butter and then whisk it all together. And we're doing this just so when we go to mix it into the dough, you get a little bit of egg and butter into every part of the dough instead of you having little separate bits. Now, take your flour, put it into the bowl of the mixer. And I'm going to keep this bowl because it's going to be used in a little bit. And in comes the sugar, the yeast, and we want just about a teaspoon or so of salt, not much. Now, the milk. And by the way, if I didn't mention it before, I'm using whole milk. Finally, the egg and butter mixture. And I've got this in the bowl of my stand mixer with the dough hook. Put this down, lock it in place, and set it to low speed until it starts to come together and gradually increase it to about medium. Every now and then you might want to stop it and scrape the sides of the bowl to get all that flour mixed in with the rest of the dough. Alright, so donuts are very moist and they're very light, and to get that you have to have a very wet dough. That's why I'm using the stand mixer. This is one I really don't want to do by hand because it is so wet, it's got so much moisture. And as you can see, what it's doing down here is showing that it's very close to being done. See how the dough is slapping against the side of the bowl as it mixes? That's about where I want it to be right there. As a matter of fact, it is. There we go. Alright, so the bowl I had earlier that I just had measured my flour in, I'm going to give it a quick spray with butter it, cooking spray, you can use whatever you want. Now, I'm going to scrape all the dough from the KitchenAid into that, because I'm going to be using the bowl for the KitchenAid here just a little bit for the filling as well. Get as much as I can off the dough hook. I'm going to come behind it with a fine-tooth comb in a minute and scrape off all the little bits from the beginning. We just want to scrape out as much of this as we can into our second bowl. You can see it's very wet, very sticky. And once you get that dough into the bowl, I'm just going to cover it up with some plastic wrap and let it rest and rise here in the kitchen for about 45 minutes or so until it doubles in size. It's going to be right about here or so in the bowl. So there's that, and we're going to leave that alone.
I'm going to tell them what the other one's for.
Margarita glass equals donut cutter. I didn't have a cookie cutter big enough, so there we go. Alright, so you remember what that dough looked like when we left off? There it is now. So now I have a cutting board not lined, it's coated with a nice dusting of all-purpose flour. I'm just going to turn this out right onto the board. Big mess. And I'm gonna
smells yeasty.
Some yeasty and sugary. And now I need a rolling pin, which I should have got beforehand, but here we go. Roll it just a little bit of that flour. and roll this out to about 1/4 inch or so thick.
Extreme close up.
Extreme. I have this big margarita glass that I'm going to be using as a cookie cutter, or as a donut cutter, so I don't have a cookie cutter available that's large enough. Anyway, this is going to be a big donut. I might make a few smaller ones, I'm not sure. But these are going, after I cut them, onto greased cookie sheets, and I'm probably only going to get 2 side by side, maybe 6 in total on each one. I just keep doing that till they're all cut. And hey, the little bit of excess that you've got in between after you make your cuts, just roll that back together, roll it out. Actually let it rest for a moment, then roll it out and you can just keep going. Is it going?
Yeah.
After you've cut as many as you can out of that, just take what's left and knead it back together. I like to let it rest for about maybe 5 minutes or so before rolling it out and repeating again. That way it gives the dough a chance to relax instead of just pulling back on itself when you try to roll it. As you can see, even if I just press it down, see how it kind of comes right back into itself? Letting it rest allows the gluten to relax and lets us roll it out easier. Cover it, let it rise for about 45 minutes or so, maybe less. Just keep an eye on it. Once these get real nice and big and poofy, they're ready to go.
Hey.
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 When you gonna make the schmear?
Schmear.
The schmear.
Schmear.
But wants the schmear.
Schmear. Schmear is soon. Soon you'll understand the meaning of my words. Well, hello.
My bubby's gonna make a schmear now.
I'm going to make our cheesecake cream cheese filling, which if you're putting it on bagel or toast or whatever, it would kind of be a schmear. Sure it would. Okay, so now to get into this, I've got 2 8-ounce packages of cream cheese. I've let them soften for a good little while when I was working on the donuts before I set them out. Got a stick of unsalted butter. I'm going to use about 1/2 cup or so of confectioner's sugar. And what you got to see down here, this is 12 ounces of strawberry preserves, where it's about maybe 1.5 cups or so if you're measuring it out that way. So, I've already got the butter down here into the bowl. There goes some powdered sugar and the cream cheese. These 3 things, are going to get beaten together first, and then the preserves will be folded in afterwards. If not, you just end up with this really weird, gritty mess. Anyway, down we go. Lock it in place, otherwise it's going to be bouncing everywhere. Low to get it started. And bump it up a bit. On my KitchenAid, I'm stopping it at speed number 4. Alright, so strawberry preserves are going to go into this mix now. Just a low speed to get these 2 things mixed. Stop again for a little scraping. Do not lock down, you know. Even after I told you the importance of locking it. Boop.
Poor babushka Pei over here is in her cups.
After the last step that we just did, I swapped the paddle attachment for the whisk attachment, and I turned it on high speed for just a little while, and that's almost there. We're going to get a little smoother. What I started out with is this kind of gelatinous mess, but the whip attachment was able to get it all nice, smooth, and fluffy. Right where we want it. Now, while we're waiting for the donuts to finish rising, which they're almost there, I've got my deep fryer heating up to 375 degrees. But while that's heating, we need to crumble up some graham crackers to top these donuts with. And she will do the honors.
I get to break stuff. way. I like to break it, break it.
It's time to make the donuts.
Pay worked hard to get that extra fine.
Oh yeah, she sure did, all by paw. These are graham crackers for later. But for now, let's get into the donuts. Oil is heated to 375 degrees. The size of these massive donuts, I'm probably going to get 2 in here. Just going to lower that into the basket, lower it down into the oil. This takes about 30 to 45 seconds per side until it gets nice and brown. Okay. All right, so one side's nice and brown. Flip that over. Repeat on the other one. Sometimes it gives you a little bit of trouble, but it's all right. Here we go. There we go. We're going to cook it till that other side's nice and brown as well. All right, so these 2 are done. I'm going to shake off some of the excess grease, transfer them over here to the cooling racks, and get ready for the next batch.
What happened here? I'm gonna have to explain that one.
No, I don't think I will.
Doom.
Okay, so while the donuts are ready, they're over here on a cooling rack, cooling down, and getting ready. We're going to let them cool completely before we start piping anything into them. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and get ready to make a glaze. So this is going to be super simple. 2 cups of confectioner's sugar, powdered sugar, into the bowl. That last cup is a little skimpy, so I'm going to get just a little bit more. There we go. Get this out of my way. I've got 1/4 of a cup of whole milk. And I'm going to put just a splash of imitation vanilla, just a little bit. There we go. Take your whisk. And whisk it all together. Just going to shove the bag into that hole and start squeezing. I don't know if you can see.
You're overfilling.
Yeah, that one's mine. All right, so next up, got one of the filled donuts. I have my glaze here and crumbled graham crackers over here. So just take the donut, first into the glaze, then into the graham crackers. There we go. This is one I did just a moment ago. It's gonna go on the plate with it. It almost looks like fried chicken. Don't tell anybody I said that. Alright, so despite looking just a little bit like fried chicken, our strawberry cheesecake donuts are allegedly ready. Let's give it a shot, see how they taste. Make sure I get some of the filling in there. Hey, that actually worked. It's pretty good. Let me finish my chewing this time. Alright, well I think that turned out pretty good. Hope you guys try it too, and if you do, let me know in the comments what you thought. And again, my name is Joshua, the virtual chef. We just made strawberry cheesecake donuts, and I will see you next time.